Today, in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today our topic is role of youth in economic development. But before I will come to the main topic, I would like to inform you that the world is celebrating today the International Mountain Day. December 11th, International Mountain Day was designated by the United Nations General Assembly in 2003. The General Assembly encouraged the international community to organize events at all levels on that day to highlight the importance of sustainable mountain development. International Mountain Day is observed every year with a different theme relevant to sustainable mountain development. FAO is the United Nations organization mandated to lead observance of International Mountain Day. Mountain biodiversity is the theme of International Mountain Day 2020. The world's most spectacular landscapes are facing threats in every way. Climate change and global warming, bad farming practices, logging, commercial mining, and poaching are taking a heavy toll on mountain biodiversity. Plastic pollution is also threatening the fragile environment. Sustainable management of mountain biodiversity has been increasingly recognized as a global priority. We hope the better sense will prevail and people will take care of mountains. Now coming to our main topic, that is role of youth in economic development. The ultimate resource in economic development is people. It is people, not capital or raw materials, that develop an economy. We can fight the global economy with a strong local economy. Educating and supporting our youth is the best way to invest in a prosperous future. The youth is the hope of our future. Economy is the state of a country or region in terms of the production and consumption of goods and services and the supply of money. According to Karabel, we call the economy that we constantly measure with specific numbers was not really invented until the 20th century. It was invented because of the Great Depression. So the government starts calculating out this single official number called national income. It is the forerunner of today's gross domestic product or GDP, and it's basically the value of all the goods and services produced in the country in a year. You need to calculate GDP because if you want help from the World Bank or the United Nations. Adam Smith was an 18th century Scottish economist, philosopher and author, and is considered the father of modern economics. An economy forms when groups of people leverage their unique skills, interests, and desire to trade with each other voluntarily. Then they trade the portable representation of their productive value money for other goods and services. The total sum of these productive efforts is referred to as an economy. The economic history of India begins with the Indus Valley Civilization 3300 to 1300 BCE. The economy appears to have depended significantly on trade and examples of overseas trade. The Vedic period saw countable units of precious metal being used for exchange. The term Nishka appears in this sense in the Rig Veda. Historically, India was the largest economy in the world for most of the next 3 millennia, starting around the first millennia BCE and ending around the beginning of British Raj. The independent India adopted central planning for most of its independent history with extensive public ownership, regulations, red tape, and trade barriers. After the 1991 economic crisis, the central government launched economic liberalization, allowing it to emerge as one of the world's fastest growing large economies. Since the early 1990s, India has slowly opened up its markets by reducing government's control on foreign trade and investment. This was started by Mr. Manmohan Singh under the leadership of Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, the then Prime Minister of India. The economy of India is the 5th largest in the world with a GDP of $2.94 trillion. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a more negative impact on activity in the first half of 2020 than anticipated, and the recovery is projected to be more gradual. In 2021, global growth is projected at 5.4%. According to IMF, India's economy is projected to contracted by 4.5% following a longer period of lockdown and slower recovery than anticipated in April. However, India's economy is expected to bounce back in 2021 with a robust 6% growth rate. My hope of the future lies in the youth of character, intelligent, renouncing all for the services of others and obedient, good to themselves and the country at large, said Swami Vivekananda. The value of a country is assessed not by the riches or assets it possesses, but by its people. A nation may be wealthy, but what is more important than the actual wealth is the collective intellect and intelligence of the people who contribute towards earning that wealth. As you can see from this, wealthy nations can go to ruin if their newer generations are unable to keep pace with their forefathers and drive innovation and growth, and developing nations can boost their welfare with insightful planning and an enthusiastic youth. In India, more young people than any other country is running out of time to harness the potential of its youth to drive economic growth. And to discuss the role of youth in economic development, we have our chief guest with us. He is Mr. Ramnath Pradeep. I invite Mr. Ramnath Pradeep to come on my show. Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, thank you very much for joining our show. Mr. Ramnath Pradeep is LLB PG Economics. He is former chairman and managing director, Corporation Bank. Mr. Ramnath Pradeep has served the banking industry for more than 37 years in various senior positions. His chairmanship in Corporation Bank had brought numerous awards to the bank. He put the bank on world map by taking keen initiative to partner with Commonwealth Secretariat for financing the youth as a social concern under Corporation Bank ComSec Youth Enterprise Financing Program. He has also served as Executive Director of Central Bank of India and was also appointed as Chief Vigilance Officer in State Bank of India and Bank of India. In addition, he had also been associated as Chairman of Corporation Bank Limited, Corp Bank Securities Limited, Cent Bank Home Limited, Cent Bank Securities Limited, and member of Board of Central Bank of India and ILFS, besides other companies in the area of finance, information technology, Rolta Group, retail chain, Vadia Group, and Being Human, credit rating advisory services, etc. Currently, he is the chairman of Messrs. CRAAS Capital Advisors, Messrs. Credit Rating and Risk Advisory Services Private Limited. He is a co-author of book Financial Inclusion, Viable Opportunity in Urban India. Welcome, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep on our show. Mr. Pradeep, you have shown very keen interest, as your profile says, and that too the partnership with the Commonwealth Secretariat for financing the youth as a social concern under the Corporation Bank ComSec Youth Enterprise Financing Program. And today our topic is role of youth in economic development. So I am sure you are one of the best person to explain this topic, that is the role of youth in economic development, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep.
Thank you, Goel Sahab. I'm really delighted to be on your panel, on your channel, and also connecting with the youth who are today going to speak on the very subject. And at this stage, when the India's population is growing, now as of today, it is said that India's population is one of the youngest population in the world. And the young mind is always, they have resilience, they have a lot of things to do, they think positively, they also have a lot of innovations to do. So in this scenario, when the population of India is between the age group of 15 to 29 is a basic That is where the young comes. And thereafter, the young mind comes for the working from till 45 to 55. This is the young population of India, where huge population. Now the question comes, as of today, when GDP is proposed to be growing with almost 10% to 11%, that is what it is proposed. When we are talking about the GDP growth of 10 trillion economy by 2030 and 5 trillion economy by 2025, there is a more important and more responsibility on the youth to respond to the requirement of the economy, where their contribution and for them themselves, because as of today, what Indian youth is required based of the education which is being made available. Unfortunately, till now we have been spending around 3% of the GDP on the education side. It needs to be now under the new education policy. It is proposed to be increasing our the spending on the education side about 6% of the GDP. So there is a various option, various things are being made available. But as of today, because of the pandemic, which has caused a tremendous negative impact on the world economy, India is also not exception to that. When first quarter GDP was minus 23%, which has come down to the quarter now to 7%. Now there is a possibility that the GDP growth will take a positive turn, maybe from 2021. So we are in the right track, and I'm of very firm view that the 5 trillion economy by 25, 26, 24, 25, we are going to achieve 100%. Now the question comes, who can take a lead in these directions? That today the population, there are two types of population India is growing. Is one is youth population, which is growing tremendously, and also the older population. Now, if you see today, when I was interacting with you, also informed that as of today, the population of young population in the parliament, who parliament is countries, the lawmaking authority, and they really shape the future of the country, any country. So when the population of when the country was liberalized, or the freedom was achieved at that particular time, the population of the parliamentarian, the young population of the parliamentarian was much higher as compared as of today. As of today, it is only 3 to 4%. At that time, it was around 40 to 45% of the total parliamentarian. Now this is a role. So it is not that the politics is averse to. Now without politics, no country can survive, and you have to do that. So that today the first youth responsibility, are they interested in politics? I'm talking about a positive politics, not the negative politics. So if the today's youth is interested to take a part in the nation development, they must also be interested in the politics. Today, when the agitation of the farmer was going on, I don't find any youth organization has come and supported them. When we are saying that they are my annadata, the entire country during this particular period was fed by the agriculturists, by agriculture product, the food grains, vegetable, fruits, all these things. When there was no shortage of this, why the youth should not have come forward during this particular period to support this? This is one. I'm raising the concern that what is the youth as of today needs to be addressing. What are the area of? Another is employment. As of today, if every youth, whether educated or uneducated, start thinking only in terms of getting a service or getting employed somewhere, who will create the employment opportunity? The question is, somebody has to create. Now who can create? As of today, a lot of things have been done in terms of the Startup India, the youth program, Startup India, many other programs which has been really done for the purpose of youth. Whether the present youth, whether they are in urban area, whether they are in the rural areas, whether they are really taken advantage of this. I find there is a huge gap as of today. The rural India has not come up to that extent to take the advantage of. And today, Second issue is about the innovations. Who can do the innovation? Whether the old people will be able to do the innovation? No. It is the youth of the country can do the innovation, think positively, do the innovation, create employment opportunity for others, not for themselves, but for others. So as of today, entrepreneurship, the lack of entrepreneurship is one of the area which is lacking in our country, particularly among the youth. If everybody wants to only to look forward for the job, who will create the job? This is one important thing which is required for youth to think of, that can we create a job for others rather than creating a job for or searching a job for themselves. So this is another area which is required. And looking to the overall situation as of today, the opportunity within the India has been created a lot of amount is being spent on value creation in terms of the employment, value creation in terms of the new generation, value creation in terms of the industry innovations. A lot of things are being done. The only question is whether the youth are also getting associated with those. The question is whether the youth can be forced. No, they cannot be forced. They have to adopt themselves. They have to think positively. They have to be innovative to see that they becomes a part of the mainstream. So politics is another area where they really want to do. In between, there has been some issue because the young, youth wanted to have participated, but the agitation and the movement which was required to be made probably was missing at that particular time, and therefore there is a need to think of how to innovate, how to create a positive impact on the society, how to create a positive impact on the economy development. Today, national gross income of the youth contribution is not that much. So how the youth of this country can contribute towards the national productive purposes, and also that will contribute to national GDP. These are the things which I call upon the present youth and the participants who are going to be there. They are all in the age group of what I find from the faces. They are quite young people. They are also working people, and they are also they have also created employment for themselves, for others also, and also they are working for somebody else. So it is a mix of the people. I congratulate Goel Saab to you to having arranged this program to have an interaction with that. I think I'll stop here. There are a lot of things to discuss and to carry forward. And based upon that feedback we get it, then we will have a little more interaction on this. So today, youth, I called upon the youth to take charge of the nation, because as of today, if you cannot do it, probably the nation progress and the nation dream which comes true, because the young mind is dreaming, but to realize that dream, they need to do something. So as of today, what can be done, what their dream is, and to realize that what steps to be taken, what expectations are there from entire country population or from the the politicians. There are various other issues which we can think of and we can talk about it. So I'll leave it to you at this stage. Please, I'll call upon all those youths to also contribute and give their mind how they feel about the India's growth, particularly on the GDP growth. When we want to become, whether we want to be poor nation, whether we want to be a rich nation, in what shape we want to be there. It is the youth who will decide.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, our chief guest. And Mr. Pradeep is very positive, and he says that it all depends on the youth. If youth will become positive and if they will take the lead, then country can definitely achieve the 5 trillion target, $5 trillion target by 2024-25, and $10 trillion target by 2030. But it all depends on the youth. So now the role of youth. So now we are going to call upon our youth guest today. My first youth guest is Miss Afra Muhammad Irfan. Miss Afra Muhammad Irfan is a student pursuing a triple degree course in English, journalism, and psychology in Alvaz Degree College. She is a writer and a speaker who wants to educate the youth of today about life skill development. She aims to create programs that would help today's youth to come forward and speak. Along with all of these, she is interested in public speaking, art, and calligraphy. Uh, Miss Afra Mohammad Irfan, welcome to our show. You have already heard our chief guest, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, and what he says that now the country belongs to you, youth, and being a youth yourself, we would like to know the role of youth in economic development. Miss Afra Mohammad Irfan, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for introducing me. My views on how youth can be taking part in developing our India is through business, basically. Like how sir said, business is one of the main thing where children's and not children's, adults can come up and bring it up so that it can bring up development. So, for example, if we itself start up our own business, we can give opportunities to other people. So instead of we itself going and finding for job opportunities, when we are coming to that particular age, when we have this point where we go for searching for job, instead of that, if we bring up our own business, and then many other people will get good employment opportunities, and even many of them are waiting, are in that position to bring up their innovative ideas. So through this, if we take e-commerce as one of the aspects, as one of the industry in development of our economy, then it is a very good thing that will bring up good GDP. Now, see, if we see right now, only 1.6% of the GDP has e-commerce as an aspect. So if we increase this thing, like consumers, today's youth are one of the biggest consumers. There are many people, but not all go for online shopping or for any online business products, because they think that okay, fine, maybe it's not trustworthy. It's better to rather go to the shop and buy some goods or services. So what we try to bring up that trust from the older generation people, if we try to bring up that trust from them, then it is very good for our country. Like the GDP should increase in these cases, because now you see during lockdown, many people were jobless. No one could do anything sitting at home. Like many of them lost their job opportunities too. So after like 2 months or something, people lost faith in themselves. Like, okay, fine, why do I have to sit simply? Let's do something. So most of them have started their businesses. I've seen many of them, I've known many of them who've started businesses through social media. Now what happens is, when you start a business, when you just start, you need a lot of support. You need a lot of people who need to support you to bring up that business, to bring a development in that business. So if you use social media, you have a lot of friends through whom you can bring up a change in your business. Now if you start a business or something, your friends are there, your family are there, they will start giving you motivation towards building up a business. So basically what I'm trying to say is, start your startup first, and then you can go on for checking what is going to happen in future, instead of going and searching for employment opportunities. Yeah, I'm not telling that this is going to totally change India's economy, but this can be one such step which we can take for this development. And not all get employment opportunities. It's not like don't go in search of job or something. Everyone goes in search of job, and some don't get their job. Some lose faith in themselves, thinking, okay, now I didn't get this employment opportunity, then why would I go for other, why do I go in search of others where we think like, okay, they will not accept me. So instead, if you're thinking like that, don't demotivate yourself. Go on for something unusual, go on for something innovative, try to bring up some new products, try to bring up some new ideas, so that today's youth are so much interested in all this, they will come to you, they will help you. So yeah, basically e-commerce is something which should be much more, which should be given light to in the country. And even by starting up some organizational campaigns or something like that, once you start some campaigns, then people will start believing you, following you. If you try to introduce some tactics and try to show that e-commerce is something which you can believe, something that will help you in your future. So if not now, maybe in 2024 or maybe in future years, e-commerce might come on top of the sectors and might be a actual sector in our India's economy. So e-commerce is what I'm trying to um, promote here. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Thank you very much, Miss Afra Muhammad Irfan. The thing is very clear. Miss Afra, you are talking about e-commerce and you are talking that youth. Now, just reply me one answer. Which is the leading company of e-commerce today? You are talking about the shopping, buying, and the name will come Amazon.
Yes,
Is
sir.
Amazon belongs to India?
No, sir.
Then
That's what I'm trying.
this is what Mr. Pradeep meant. Ki why the youth is not coming forward? Why you people are not coming forward to see to it? One side we say vocal for local, but
Yes.
we are vocal for the other outsiders, not for the local. We are buying only from the Amazon. We have only one name, which is ringing in our eyes, ears. Everyone is knowing. So the youth has to come forward and see to it. They should develop the things which are more competitive and far better quality control is far better. Why we are purchasing from the foreign companies? Because of the quality control, because of the rate. These are the two factors. And if the local companies will start giving this, and which I'm sure the youth can take up the matter very seriously, then definitely. Anyway, thank you very much, Ms. Afra Muhammad Irfan, for giving your views. Now I would like to go to my next guest, and he's Mr. Harsha Raj Gati. Mr. Harsha is the managing director of Subs and Scribes Media Ventures LLP. He was employed as a crime beat reporter for Deccan Herald and as state correspondent for the Indian Express based out of Bengaluru and Goa. In 2012, he was awarded fellowship by the Department of Personal Training, DOPT, Union Ministry of Home Affairs for his research on Right to Information Act. He was a visiting faculty at NITTE Institute of Communication and at present he is in journalism faculty with St. Agnes College, Mangalore. Welcome, Mr. Gatti. You have heard the earlier one. We want to know from you the role of youth in economic development. Mr. Harsha, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thank you, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep. And there are so many takeaways right from the beginning that you have enlightened us about, the current status of the Indian economy. And I agree to most of your points, including Mr. Afra, that there is a lot of zeal, enthusiasm. Okay, and given the fact that 54% of our total population is below 25, we are seeing a great prospectus for the youth as the upcoming leaders. Okay, in terms of business, in terms of politics, or in some socio-economic causes, so many platforms. Coming from my own experiences, when I started off my career as 2011, I had a lot of zeal, enthusiasm, but the challenge was I had skills required for my domain. I was lacking entrepreneurial domains. Say for example, when we talk about business, we talk about planning, goal setting, decision making, man mobilization, resource mobilization, where to get the appropriate finances, and eventually, coming from my own experiences, there was a burnout, and I said, I'm not pursuing this. I will get into my job domain, basic 9 to 5. And that was an opportunity for me to learn a lot of things, what industry expected, like Mr. Goel pointed out. One of the reasons why people prefer foreign counterparts instead of local available resources is because of quality control, or say for example competitive pricing, or say for example the way they project their business. So when I align myself, with the national and national dailies, international dailies, I had a lot of learning from them. But every time I introspect, one thing is that what if I had these knowledge base? What if the education where I come from, say probably from 12, if the education system had itself, processed, or gave me a bridge or a avenue to link with these industries. So probably when I had graduated along, probably when I was 18 or 19 or 20, I could have harnessed these business essential skills or entrepreneurial skills. And probably I could have started off, in my 20s rather than, in my 28 when I actually started off my venture. So, and there are, now I am a faculty for the past 4 years. I don't find much of a difference when I see students pursuing graduation. They come, you can see it's a herded mentality where you finish 10, then you finish, your 12, then you get into graduation. And if you ask them, probably in the final years, they come up to the faculties and ask, what should I do, sir, now? Okay, this is the query. So what I was able to see, it was a reflection to myself also. Even I was in the same position when I passed out. When I finished my graduation, till then my my parents, my family guarded me, saying that okay, this is what you have to do. At the last minute, my family said, now you do what you want. So that decision making ability itself was absent within myself. There was a lot of conflict. I could not distinguish what I like to do versus what I wanted to do. Okay, and I find similar things even now. So personally, I feel, coming from 18, 19 years old, you have a lot of energy, zeal as youngsters to create something, innovate something. But it is surprising that, given such huge population that we are right now, we are seen as more as value contributors than value creators. That is one core area which I see there is a lot of deficit. And in terms of when if we suppose read the national skill, the report last in 2019, only 2% of our population is employable, okay, or skill-wise competent, either for employability or for career progression or for entrepreneurial skills. Okay, and this is relatively less when you compare to our international counterparts. So if those areas, those gray areas are covered, I feel, the students, the moment they pass out, or the youngsters when they pass out from, their graduation or whichever highest form of education they want to have, they will be industry ready, or to know what is required out of them. They will have the required skill sets, tools, okay, or say, for example, resources they have to tap into to launch themselves as a successful entrepreneur. Like Ms. Afra said, social media is definitely a great platform. In fact, COVID-19 I see as as much as it has its own downside, I see it as a myth breaker. Where it just broke the myth about how you should live your life, how you should pursue your job, how you should do your graduation, post graduation. Then okay, you are you just your day to day agenda is just going up the corporate ladders. And that you end up, okay, probably when you're 50, 55 plus, you are on top of the, and then 60 you're out. Okay, so I feel, as a potential contributor, age is not the age, like many people say, age is just a number. But if we can be value creators, then we can contribute in a much better way, much constructive way. And like Mr. Goel said and Mr. Ramath said, instead of just looking at ourselves, instead of just talking about booking profit, we can see how we can even create opportunity for others. Or collaborative or cooperative businesses is one of the untapped potential. People are very skeptic, but you get like-minded people, you collaborate, you have a cooperative businesses. Okay, same on the lines of capitalistic side. I think that is something what we should be looking for. And gainful employment is one area. It's like having internships to know what are, like Mr. Goel said, qualitatively. Okay, the finish. Okay, finish what we talk about. The packaging, the end result, the output is good, and what are the competencies we require just to scale it up. But then I think we should venture into being value creators, and that's my perspective on how youth as well as me myself should focus for the coming times. So that's all from my end.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Harsha. Mr. Harsha, you have made a very good point, a pertinent point about the employability. This is the fact, because till now the education is just to provide you the degrees to the youth. They are not making them the employable. And the problem in India, the earlier the education system, now the new education policy has come, Now, whether it will be implementable or not, that is a different question. But the thing is, until unless the student who is passing out from the university or the college is not employable, then how you expect that the companies which are competing nowadays, because the competition is too high, and especially after the COVID-19, the competition has increased because the demand has decreased, supply is more. And when that situation is there, definitely the competition or the competitiveness is there. Definitely the company, the corporates require the person to do overwork, that to do something which is extraordinary. That is the employability. That's why the corporates are looking at good employee. Good employee means that who is fit to do those things or who is innovative. Now, do you think at this present scenario, youth are taking that much interest, or they are just taking that degree? Because you are also in the faculty, so you know what is the mentality of the youth today, the students. If they are coming out, they are just taking a degree, and then once you are out, as you rightly said, that 18, 19 years of the age when everybody is having big dreams to become very big, but when they see the reality, they found that it is a ocean and they are nowhere. What do you say about this, Mr. Harsha?
I agree. I agree. 18, 19, your risk appetite is very high. Your liability towards your family, even they are very promotive of your venture. But then what happens, like you rightly pointed out, beyond my knowledge domain, like my knowledge domain is media, I do not understand the entrepreneurial aspects of it. So, and when I find that as a handicap, I give up easily. There is this burnout. You pursue 1 year, 2 year, then you see your colleagues or your former classmates going through the formal sector in hierarchy. That has an impact, psychological impact on your own pursuit, and that's exactly what happened within 6 months of time. When I initially thought of in 2011 to start this venture, which I then started in 2017, I had a very quick my risk appetite almost vanished.
Okay.
And I just jumped to the formal
Okay,
job.
thank you very much, Mr. Harsha, for giving your views. Now I would
Well,
like
sir,
to.
can I
Yeah,
take your 2
yes,
minutes?
yes, please.
Yeah. I just wanted to highlight what is happening today. See, the first lady, she spoke about the
E-commerce.
e-commerce. Now, e-commerce will be handled by whom? You will handle, there is e-commerce handling, but what is to be handled? That needs to be produced, that has to be manufactured, then only things can come. You cannot just import the thing from outside and bring to India and then sell it. E-commerce come for the purpose of sale. The question is whether the present youth is able to produce, whether they are going to be engaged or developing the entrepreneurship themselves to produce the goods and services. As of today, during this pandemic period, if at the age of 70, if I can work for 18 hours, I earned I think my whole life I have not earned what I have earned during the pandemic time. So it is a matter of opportunity. How do you convert the opportunity for yourself in the given situation? So what is required as of youth, they must work on that how to create the opportunity for themselves and create for that will contribute to national wealth, that will contribute to the GDP. All those things will come. But what I find is presently everybody is talking in terms of take the education, wait for the employment to come. From where the employment will come? So opportunity in India has been made available. The platforms are made available. Now Startup India, there is a huge platform available. Whatever innovation you want to do it, you can do it. But somebody has to create that, the mindset. They have to come out of the mindset saying that I do not want to get employed. I want to give the employment. Let it a theme projected that we will create the employment not for seeking the employment. This is what the youth has to think about it. And if they can create a moment of this, I think nobody can stop it. If the Nirbhaya movement was started by whom? It is the youth who had taken the lead. Many of the area, it is the youth who has taken the lead. Now, the present youth, if they are busy only the 3G and 4G and whole day they are only browsing the internet, this and that is not going to help. They have to think innovatively. They have to think positively. They have to think creatively so that they are in a position to generate. Because as of today, if the 50% of my population or 29, 30% population is a young population, which is growing to be more than 66%, you have to provide the food for the 35% people. Because the old people are going to be there, they cannot be thrown out. So you have to provide the opportunity for them and food for them. So your earning has to be double, because you are also going to be not every, maybe the 50 years or 55 years you are going to be in the employment, and thereafter what? So that opportunity needs to be created, and you have to earn so much to next generation, third generation, like that. So that youth has to think today in that directions, not only looking forward that I get a education and go for the employment. That should not be the case. Thanks.
So now I would like to invite my next youth guest, and he is Mr. Jeffrey George Varki. Mr. Jeffrey is from Trivula in Kerala. He is a final year degree student at Naipunya School of Management, Chethrala. He would like to take teaching as a career. He loves English, being a beautiful language. Mr. Jeffrey, you have heard what our chief guest and the earlier panelists have spoken before you. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in economic development. Mr. Jeffrey George Varki, please.
So we do not have to consider them just as a future prospect. They are the ones who will be working for today. They play a major role, as David Israeli, he's a writer who has rightly said the youth of a nation are the trustees of the posterity. That is, they are the future. So instead of just seeing them as future, we have to develop them. One of the major thing that I think we in India we face, we have our own myths. When we tell our parents we would like to start our own business, or we would like to do something else, which is, something new, something adventurous, what our first thing our parents will say is, do you think it will be successful? They never go for the positive side. They will always go for the negative side. They will say, what are the risks that are involved? We never get the opportunity to develop our ideas. I think that should be first of all changed. There should be reformation in the minds of our parents as well as the old people. The old people, I mean, the people who are about the age of 45, 50, that age group. There are people who think that, doing something new. When we say like Amazon, yes, Amazon is an American company and it has grown exponentially. But what we Indians can do, we have Flipkart. We have Flipkart. Flipkart is mainly an Indian company which has been bought by Amazon recently. But whatever that may be, we have the opportunity to build something as powerful and as something which can be worldwide, which can be used. Flipkart. So I think we should use our ideas to come up with ways that can develop the Flipkart into something much more better. The youth, they are there are many people, as we have said, around the world. Presently about more than 50% of the population consists of youth who are below the age of 35. That is something which we can call as the youth. And most of them live in areas where there are not much development. And they might be having the creative ideas, skills, and talents which can be used for economic development. Mainly, let's say, recently the Times Kid of the Year, Ms. Gitanjali Rao, she's an Indian. She's just 15 years old, and basically a scientist, and she has created technology to tackle issues ranging from contaminated drinking water to opioid addiction. And she has said that the youth, like, if she could do it, why can't the others do it? We have to have that ideology. We can't just think that, okay, she has done it, there's nothing more to do. There are things which we can do to develop it. Like, for example, when NASA landed first man on moon, we could have just thought, okay, that's it, nothing else can be done. So if that had happened, nothing else would have happened. Like, we would never have gone to Mars. See, now what has been done in the past can be renewed. The present youth can actually start from where our predecessors have left off, because we can do it much better than they have done, because of the technological advancements that are presently there. The larger population in any society is composed of the youth, that is between the age of 18 to 35, and they contribute significantly to the development of any society. And I would like to say that the youth has a direct influence on the economic development of any country. the workforce of any country is comprised of youth, and in many societies, the youth are sidelined because we will say that experience speaks much louder. Well, that is true, but we have to also give the opportunity to the youth so that they can have the opportunity, like they have the experience, so that they can bring forth their ideas and talents, and they can make significant contribution to economic development. And something I would like to say, consumerism. The youth, we are the one, we consume the most of the products that are available in the market presently. As you know, in India presently, the people, the age group of people who are buying cosmetic products, it mainly consists of the youth. So we can say that we contribute to the economic development of any country, like be it any foreign product, like we will be using foreign products, but still we are contributing to the economic development not of our country but of the world. The GDP of India is important as well. I would not say, but that's not important. So we have to have that ideology that anything can change, and the youth also motivates manufacturers to come up with new ideas. Like we will say, like we have surveys that are done to improve products, and uh, and we are also the agents of change, the youth. Reformation can only happen when there are new ideas are put forward, and I believe that youth have can play a major role in the development and reformation of ideologies and changes in this country. And the vision of any country lies in the hands of the youth. We can bring forward reformation so that our predecessors who had the dream of a perfect nation can see that perfect nation which are being made by the present youth. And the youth have a positive influence on the society. Like we have seen in many issues how youth have the quality of uniting together for the common good. Like when the issues in Delhi happened, we saw how all the youth, be it any religion, caste, color, gender, they have all united together to fight for the betterment of the nation. I mean, betterment of the change in the law. So I would say that the youth should be given the opportunity to develop themselves, and I think education is one of the main factors that the government should put forward, so that compulsory education is given, and that those who have the skills should be helped to mold their skills into something much more better. And youths are ultimately the building blocks of the society, of the nation. The stronger the nation, the better the future of the country will be. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jeffrey. You have made 2-3 points. First point, you are saying that the youth is not future, it's present. Now, may I ask you very clearly what contributions you have done in the present scenario? Mr. Pradeep has mentioned, I can give the figures. This thing that the first Lok Sabha was having 26% representation of the youth. And this present Lok Sabha is having only 12%. So down from 26 to 12. So the youth, if anybody is saying that youth is contributing, they are the present. No, they are not the present. They are guided by the older generation more than what they were doing when we got the independence. And at that time, in 1947 or 50, the youth were more active, more proactive for the benefit of the country. Not now. As per the data, I'm not talking from my side, which you can very well see. Now, as far as the skills are concerned, what skills the youth are showing nowadays? If you see how many Nobel Prize Indian scientists or the youth got till now, whatsoever Nobel Prize we are getting, they are being taken by we claim that he is our Indian, he is an American Indian. He is not Indian now. He has already taken the citizenship of another country. So the youth, which is the primary thing of the youth, if you really think that the youth is present, then youth has to think, as our chief guest has rightly said, come out from the WhatsApp university, go to the real university, do the research, come out with the innovations, can be of e-commerce, can be of any manufacturing activity, can be of any trading. But until unless the youth will not come out, no one can guide you. I cannot guide you, you do this research. Research has to come from you. You have to think. And that once youth will think, then we can proudly say that, yes, this is the present youth which is doing. And those youth who are thinking, who want to do it, they go abroad and they are creating, they are getting the names. You name any of the top companies and you will find the CEOs of all the top companies belongs to India. Were belongs to India, I can say. Now they are the citizens of those countries. So why not youth decide now? Youth means you all, that we have to do for the country, for the betterment of the country. Because if your own house is good, is prosperous, then you can think for your neighbors. But right now your house is on the fire. How you can think for the others? You have given example of the Nirbhaya case, that we have changed the law. What advantage? One case, forget. Now what is happening every day? Do you think the rape cases has been reduced in country? You just go through the data and you will find it is increasing after the Nirbhaya case. And Nirbhaya case also 7 years took for the conviction. So youth at one momentum, yes, they are ready to do. But after that, they say, okay, now we are done, forget. Now we are again going for our WhatsApp university. So my point is, yes, it is a right approach of yours that youth should be in the present, but it should be practical, not on theoretical, just in the book. Yes, it's very good to think, read and say that this is this. But when we come to the practical, we find that the youths are not taking, as our chief guest says, they are not coming in politics. Until as you will not come in the policy making. Today, who is going to dictate you? Who will tell you that this policy is good for you or not? How the older generation who have not seen the computer in their younger time, how they can tell you that you do this, you can do this? The youth who has to come forward. Yes, I think our chief guest wants to add something. Yes, please.
No, I want as of today, because unless you think which is doable, see, the question is, the thinking must come in the mind of the youth that this is a doable, and doable practically you can do it yourself and see the result of that. The whole satisfaction will come when we are talking about the education. You got education. Now best of the talent who has gone out, nobody wants to come back because they are citizen of other country. Can we create this type of pichai or this type of other youth who can be within the India, and they don't have the desire to go out? Why? When opportunity is available here within the India, why anybody think of going out? You get a best of the education as of today. The outsider people are coming to get the education here. When our people are getting educated, why they should go out? And because they are only temporarily for a certain period. So the youth responsibility to create here, the create job here, create opportunity here, rather than creating opportunity somewhere else. So I am only thinking of in 3 terms. One is, are you not empowered today? The youth are not empowered, youth are not educated, or youth are not having the capacity to deliver. These are the 3 areas which should really work on this, and probably if they work and think on those areas. So if you lack empowerment, that government is not allowing it to do. Empowerment comes from those areas where the government is ready to empower you. Are you lacking that there is a we are not empowered to take those calls, or I don't have education to that extent to innovate, create new ideas? Are this is lacking in India? Those are the area which needs to be discussed, deliberated, and carry forward.
When the youth stand up against the people who have been in the political field for a long time, and they stand in a certain district, the people will always vote for the person who has the more practice. They will never vote for the younger mind. They will never think about the young mind who will be having the skills, who might be a better leader than the one that the predecessor was standing.
Okay, you have made a very right point, but can I ask you one thing? When you will be having faith on your younger brother and sister, only when they will show something which you feel, okay, they can do. Otherwise, you will always treat them with a glove hand. Similarly, the voter always feel that you have not shown anything which is remarkable, so youth should come forward. Yes, this is the right approach, what you are saying. But why not in all the parties? Why not go to the local small things which you have to do? The other program I have done, the earlier one, somebody said the manhole. Yes, if manhole is somewhere you have found that the main hole is not on the place. What youth is doing today, they will start clicking the photographs, putting on the social media. This is not the thing. You immediately, 3, 4, 5 youth will just pick up the main hole and put it. Finish. This is what, if you will be the thinking at that, what chief guest is saying is, our Mr. Pradeep is saying is, you have to change your mindset. You have to become innovative. You have to think that this country belongs to you, not the older generation. Older generation is there today for another 5, 10 years. They will be nowhere. You are the owner of this country. You are the stakeholder of this country. When you are the owner or the stakeholder of country, you have to think for the benefit of the country. If you are thinking for the benefit of the country, the youth can definitely change the economic and for the development and whatnot. Thank you very much, Mr. Jeffrey, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next youth guest, and she is Miss Simran Lilani. Miss Simran Lilani is from Bangalore. She finished her graduate studies in commerce from Mount Caramel College in 2019 and is currently pursuing CMA at the final level. She aspires to explore the fields of finance and costing and contribute to sustainable economic development. Ms. Simran Lilani, please. Ms. Simran Lilani, you have heard the earlier, our chief guest, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep. You have already heard about what your earlier youth guests have spoken. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in economic development. Ms. Simran Lilani, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for introducing me. So, according to me, economic development is a broader concept than economic growth. Yes, growth is necessary, but not sufficient for development. According to economist Amartya Sen, development is about creating freedom for people and removing obstacles for greater freedom, like poverty, lack of economic opportunities, corruption, poor governance, education, good health, etc., etc. So any country with a vision to achieve sustainable economic growth requires the maximum backing of its youth. And some of the many factors of economic development are technological advancement, occupational structure, capital formation and accumulation, manpower and natural resources, education, political and administrative efficiency. So, the potential of the youth to learn and adapt to the environment backed by the technical knowledge they possess, and with the help of the experienced older generation, they can lead to the economic development of India. For economic development, the youth needs to take part in all the occupational fields. Like, for example, youth entrepreneurship is an internationally desired activity for economic development across the globe. So, India also needs this. India needs new and innovative ideas that cater to the needs of various sections of the population, especially sections that are currently deprived in any possible way. And any new idea should also ensure that resources are used efficiently, striving for sustainable economic development. And youth as entrepreneurs should also take inspiration from other countries. For example, recycling revolution in countries like Sweden, which recycles 99% of household waste and turns it into energy. And also the IT field is another important field for economic development. And today's youth is the most technologically sound, uh, and with this knowledge, and this knowledge can be combined with their other skills to fight the various challenges faced by the Indian economy. So, and another field, participation of youth in politics, like everyone said, is also very important to make and support policies which are helpful in economic development. India is a young country, but its leaders are old. So until we take responsibility for our future by contributing to making and supporting laws that govern us, we will not be able to make any favorable changes to the country. Youth as civil servants are also responsible for executing developmental work at the ground level. Youth in the educational field as teachers, professors, and researchers also play a vital role by passing on their knowledge to the even younger generation and making sure that every child receives all round education by teachers who are skilled in imparting knowledge using new ways. So we know new ways, and also we can connect with the students better. So youth as teachers and professors also play an important role. Similarly, there are many other occupational sectors that require the zeal freshness, and the ability to recognize changing needs that the youth has. And apart from these sectors, the youth should also take part and make use of their skills in social work. They should help the people around, they should help the society, conserve the environment, the natural resources. Uh, this is also very important. Only when young people are present in all these fields can they unite and work towards economic development. Also, like Jeffrey told, youth should also be a responsible consumer. We should, of course, encourage our country's local craftsmen and our country's companies and brands. And also, we should make sure we support ethical brands, companies that produce their products ethically, that provide services ethically. And above all, the main factor for economic development is the urge for economic development. So the youth must be ready to bear both the suffering and the convenience for economic development. When the youth of a nation are focused on economic development, the particular nation will achieve it. And for the youth to be able to help the country in economic development, they need good education and employment opportunities, like everyone said. So, and also there is a paradoxical situation in the country wherein, despite so much of human capital, industries are reporting that they are unable to fill vacancies due to lack of skilled workers. And on the other hand, there is huge unemployment problem among people who consider themselves highly educated. So, to solve the education problem, hopefully the new education policy will be helpful. But the youth should also take responsibility for themselves, and they should try to upskill themselves, learn new skills so that they can be employed, and also so that they can create employment opportunities for themselves and the people around them. So we can't just blame the government for employment and education. We also need to play our role by learning new skills and acquiring new knowledge all the time. Learning should be constant, and we should try to create opportunities for ourselves and others around us, like by starting new businesses that fulfill the needs of the people around us. For example, youth-led enterprises like digital COVID trash bots, remote mental health services, etc., are fighting misinformation, mobilizing community action to protect the vulnerable, and they are developing innovative new products and services. For example, online grocery delivery has seen significant demand increase during the lockdown, and this will continue. So various challenges to economic development exist in India, such as poverty, unequal distribution of income, unemployment, poor health services, illiteracy, different forms of inequality, and the youth need to work towards providing solutions for these. And until the world remains dynamic, the youth will have opportunities to use their skills, because they will always remain the present and the future of any generation. Thank you.
Now, I just wanted to her. She has raised a lot of issues that this is to be done. That is. I'm asking her. Are you satisfied with the present youth what they are doing today?
No, sir, I agree that they're not doing everything,
Then
but
what
they
is the
are
gap? Where is the gap lies?
in the interest of the youth and the urge of the youth for economic development, like I told. So we need
No, I'm
to.
saying that given the situation today, do you feel that the youth is lacking in terms of various parameter? They are looking to whom? They are looking to government, or they are looking to themselves, or they are lacking themselves to find the opportunity? Somewhere there is a disconnect.
So like I told, government should is also responsible, like they also need to provide good education, and now that they've come up with a new education policy, I hope that will be helpful. But other than that, people who are capable of learning themselves on their own should try to do that also. So we should, together with the help of the government, we should try to bring differences. Alone it is not possible.
Okay. Okay. Now I will just add one thing. What Mr. Pradeep was asking, what is the gap? See, you are saying everyone, and earlier all the panelists has also agreed. Suppose we take the topic of politics only. Now, politics, you say that one of the panelists says that the votes goes to the senior person. when the below 65, below 45 years of age is the percentage is 65% in India, the population. It means in all the parties, whether it's Congress, BJP, any XYZ, CPI, CPIM or Trinamool or whatsoever, it means their memberships, there are also 65% to the youth and 35% to the elder generation, the older generation. Why then the youth are not getting the ticket? Whose fault is this? And instead of saying that the older generation is not giving and we are been defeated, you are not been defeated, you have been defeated by youth only. If youth will decide that no, we want our own youth leaders to come forward, then no older generation can survive, because in democracy the majority is matters and the majority belongs to youth. You are 65% and the older generation is only 35%. Me and Mr. Ramnath Pradeep is in 35%. So you, if today, and today also in the program also you are 5 and we are 2, so majority belongs to you. If you decide that this is to be done, then how the older generation will be. So what you said is right, that youth has to look forwards everything, but only just looking or doing something. What Mr. Pradeep has asked is, what is the lacuna? The lacuna is very clear, that the zeal or that fire in the belly is not there with the youth now, which was there at the time of independence in India. When the youth were having a fire in belly, they wanted to get rid of the Britishers. You don't have a fire in belly against the poverty. The youth has to come out with a fire in belly for many things which are happening today, for which we require, everyone wants that it should be eradicated. If the corruption, like the corruption, everybody knows. And you know one thing, I would like to inform, the majority of the corruption is in youth in the world. These are the, you can go, you are all tech savvy, just Google it and you will find the majority, the corruption is of youth. They are maximum, the bribe which they are giving is the maximum given by the youth, not by the older generation. So these are the things which youth have to think. But you have nicely put, yes, we have to, the youth has to think for many opportunities which are there, which the government is also creating, but everything government can't do. Youth has to come forward and grab those opportunities and come forward. Thank you very much, Ms. Simran, for giving your views. Now I'm going to my last youth guest, and she is Miss Sri Lakshmi Anil. Miss Sri Lakshmi Anil is from Wycombe, Kottayam. She is a final year degree student at Nepunya School of Management, Cherthala. Her plan is to take journalism as a career. Welcome, Miss Sri Lakshmi Anil on our show. Miss Sri Lakshmi, you have already heard the chief guest and all your earlier panelists, and you know what they have spoken. Now, you are interested, as you have mentioned, that you are going to take the journalism course. So I have to be a bit afraid of you. So now, because of the competition, we would like to know from you the role of youth in economic development. Miss Sri Lakshmi Anil, please.
And 34% of our Indian population is youth, and they have the power to change the world. They are dynamic. They are a dynamic segment of the development of our nation. And undoubtedly, we can say that if we give them proper education, proper support, health, we can create, or we can accept more innovators, creators, builders, leaders. Okay, and if we need a stable economic development, we want more hands to work rather than more mouths to feed. For that, we have to increase the amount of working class rather than the dependent class. Since as a nation since 72 years, but we are still striving for many issues like inequalities, gender bias, unemployment, health, poverty, illiteracy, corruption, and violence, and it goes like that. And our nation is the youngest nation in the world with more than 62% of the population in the working class. That means a working group in between the age of 15 to 59. And in that, below 62% of the total population is 25 years old. As like my friends already told you, we have to encourage the local brands, as like how we encourage international brands. As like my friend Jeffrey told, we have, if when we came across with an idea, everyone look at like, or whether she or he is going to succeed in this. We are not getting enough support from our family and relatives. So we are moving to social media for more support, and we get that. And we can see that in this pandemic situation, many new innovators, creators, YouTubers, bloggers came across with their new innovative ideas. And what this pandemic teaches that nothing is stable. Job, life, nothing is stable. At the same time, everyone was talking about unemployment as a major problem of the youth. There are certain other things. Malnutrition is what I think the major thing we have to discuss. A lot of people are still in poverty and not getting sufficient support, sufficient food for their daily needs. And in that particular group of people, there are a lot of people who have innovative ideas, techniques, and so on. If we can raise them up, we definitely can have more innovators and more people for helping us. And some other problems, and next problem is exploration under the name of experience. Most of the youth were denied because they don't have enough experience. It's like my friend Jeffrey said, even though we don't have more experience, maybe we were innovative, more creative than other people who are working for long years. And I have only little to say about that by concluding this. Do don't be down whether if you don't get an opportunity, whether just create opportunity, and always don't knock all the doors for opportunity. Just create yourself, and I believe that youth can create drastic changes in the economic development of our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sri Lakshmi. Before I will go to the chief guest, I would like to raise one point to you. You all are talking about the youth can do now. Do you know who has created the Hotmail? The Hotmail was created by an Indian youth. He was only 28 years old. In 1996, he created the Hotmail, and his name is Mr. Sabir Bhatia. And he sold it to the Microsoft at that time. So if you just think, so many years back, so much innovation was there. Why not now? So what our chief guest has said, where is the innovation now? I'm not now talking of the independence time, that Fire and Valley at that time. What about the Fire and Valley in 90s? When he can invent this, even today we are on Zoom platform. Zoom was not invented by Indian. Why the youths are not coming out with something which is very common and which is quality and quantity, quality and the competitive? Definitely everybody would like to go for that. So the thing is that yes, youth is there. They have to think innovatively, but they have to think themselves. They should not wait somebody else will come and then we will follow. Like our chief guest said, you have to come. You have to be your own owner. You have to become the entrepreneur yourself. Then you can create the jobs for others. If youth will start thinking like this, then there will be no dearth of job. Nobody would like to see towards the government. Now I would like Mr. Ramnath Pradeep to say what he wants to say.
No, I just wanted to add, Goel Sahab, that no doubt about the youth, the youth contribution in the public domain or in the national development is a very, very crucial. So no doubt about it. Now, as of today, when the opportunity is created to go to the rural area, see, urban area, there is an employment problem. Rural area, a lot of opportunity has been. How many youth can a youth undertake to make the movement to go towards the rural areas? Because the technical rural areas has been created. Lot of technical opportunity is being created. Infrastructure is being created. The food chain is being created. The cold chain is being created. A lot of things are happening. Can we not ask the youth to create a movement? See, anything which can create a movement probably will create more awareness among the people, and the same young people will be able to move towards the rural areas. Why can't we have this create a movement towards the rural area rather than creating an atmosphere of coming to urban area? Because urban area is getting saturated, so the rural area is an opportunity where people can go. Can the youth undertake and take a place that yes, we will move towards creating of new opportunity, new innovation towards only the rural area. Now, if the rural area get developed, opportunity get developed, probably the flight of the flight of the people from the movement from the rural area to urban area will be stopped. So more opportunity available as of today in the rural area. Whether our youth can really take a call and create awareness. Yes, we want to move towards urban area to rural area. This is one area where they can really do this. So I would like to call upon them, because problem is there. Now it is the youth who has to create, create atmosphere, take a moment and try to create the opportunity for the rural youth. So a huge number of population is staying in the rural area. Can we do something for the rural people? What can be done? Opportunity is there. Government has created, government can create only the opportunity. Government create environment. Government can create, but they cannot do themselves. So the government has created opportunity, created a fund for that purposes. In many other areas, the government has created. Are we able to take those opportunity in our hand and move towards forward?
Anyone
Move
would
to-
like to answer the question raised by Mr. Pradeep? Anyone, please raise your hand and unmute. If you want to answer why the youth, if they will move to the rural area, think of the rural, then the development can be faster, and then the pressure on the infrastructure of the metros or the big cities will be less. Anyone would like to say anything among you youth? Mr. Harsha, Mr. Jeffrey, Ms. Safra, anyone, Ms. Simran or Ms. Sri Lakshmi? No. Okay, I will now say, Mr. Pradeep, earlier, before pandemic, the complaint of youth was that to go to a rural area, no internet, no proper electricity. But during this lockdown period, it has become now that the youths who were in, or the population which were centered in the metros, they shifted because work from home culture has come. They have come to the small cities and even going to the village. There is an advertisement coming from a one of the this our what you say, mobile service provider. They says you make the complaint, they will rectify the complaint. I will not name because we don't want to vouch for it. But if suppose you are going to a particular village, and if there is no proper signal, if the youth will start saying that, see here, there is no signal, definitely one of the service provider will provide the service. Youth have to come forward. That is what Mr. Ramnath Pradeep means. You can do the work from home from sitting in a village. You can do from the city. And you can, I'm also doing this show from a village. I'm not in a city. Mr. Ramnath Pradeep knows. When I can do this show. Okay, there were hurdles. I was there, electricity gone, but there are so many things are now with us. We can very well do. So youth can come out. So this is the I think that's what I can say about this. What Mr. Pradeep has said. Yes,
there is a lot of hopes on them. The country is depending upon them. The youth can contribute a lot, and I think this will bring the in the India will be in the league of all those rich people. So the richness is depend upon that, how they are going to contribute in the total economy. If they contribute in the total economy, probably will be one of the richest country. As we are facing some time back, we were being talked, we were the poor country. Now we are no longer a poor country. We have to now lift it. See, the question, the opportunity is available, how to lift it, how to grab that opportunity. And environment is being created by the government, the authorities who are there, they are all creating environment. So it is a youth to take the call and take the opportunity in their favor.
One more thing which I would like to highlight, which I am sure, because few of you are in either the journalist or those who have done the journalist work. Why not youth take up a campaign for eradicating the fake news? Why there's so much negative news which are fake in nature, which are depressing youth, which are depressing, and this is a blockade for the economic development of the country. If there is no positive media, then you will find, like I will give you the example today, vaccine. Now, vaccine, there are positive news and there are negative news. Negative news are getting more eyeballs. Negative news, the vaccine is bad, allergy, deaths. Now, yesterday I saw one news, 2 deaths have occurred. I searched myself, no death has occurred after the vaccine has been given, this Pfizer vaccine, which is right now available. Why not youth themselves take up the matter and they say, no, this is a fake news. And the person who is forwarding immediately send back to them and say, whosoever has forwarded you, please send it. Make a chain. See to it, the fake news, it is a very bad thing for the development of the country. And I think you all are the future, not the future as one of you said. You are the present, you are the future of the country, and you can very well take the economic development very nicely. I must give thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, who has been kind enough to give so much time and give you whatsoever you wanted to know. But still, if you want to know further anything, you want to be connected, you can very well contact the Global TV. The Global TV will connect you to our chief guest, so that if you have any guidance, anything which you want, his expertise, he will be happy to give you for the betterment of this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, for joining us. Thank you all our guests, youth guests, and our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new thing. But before that, I would like to inform that today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarokar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And tomorrow, our topic is, which is also concerning with you people also, the media conference with Lal Goyal is Skill India a success? Now, we are talking about Skill India. So tomorrow, the topic of the conference is Skill India a success? And the panelists are Professor Dr. P. Subramania, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mangalore University, Mangalore. Professor Dr. K. Sankran, Director, Justice K.S. Hegde Institute of Management, Nitte. Father Salim Joseph, Director, Edu Skills International, Bathangri, and Dr. Gautam Goyal, Managing Trustee, Gyan Educational Foundation, Uttar Pradesh. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep. Thank you all the youth guests for joining us. Thank you very
Goyal
much.
sahab.